So 4 months ago, I made a video ranting on how Sneako has become problematic, and during that time period, Sneako was all over TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and didn't exactly qualify for a downfall. But as of recent times, Sneako's relevancy has slowly drifted away as he's gotten banned off of YouTube, as the only reason he blew up in the first place was because of people reposting his videos on TikTok, and as well as Andrew Tate's blow up. Sneako went from being a sort of popular creator about 6 months ago to becoming one of the most recognizable creators and streamers during the summer. He grew his name with a super controversial view on women, and as well as big masculinity view on them. He built up an extremely loyal fan base that stands whatever he says, even if he says all women are the same. During the time Sneako was blowing up, many people began calling Sneako out for being extremely disrespectful towards women, ignorant, and the most common word, misogynistic. And when Sneako got banned, many people began celebrating this, but the other people were super upset about this and saying how there is no freedom of speech. But before we go into Sneako's controversial antics he's done, we first need to go back during Sneako's early days of the internet. Sneako, aka Sneako, had created his YouTube channel in April 2013 at the age of 15 years old. And surprising as it sounds to you, Sneako didn't just come on YouTube and start talking about his masculinity view right away, as during this time period he tried to do what every creator was doing at this time by posting Call of Duty videos, and none of these videos popped off. However, to try and be different from all the other gameplay commentary YouTubers who basically just sit there and commentate what's going on in the video, he would start to talk about different political stuff over his gameplay, something that many people were doing at the time.
The question at hand is, should the US intervene in Syria?
Imagine you're in a BO2 lobby and you just hit this little motherfucker. Should the US intervene in Syria?
During this time, Sneako would try to talk about some of the stuff that many people on the platform weren't trying to talk about or get into, which was some of the more controversial stuff. He was basically trying to be as transparent as possible, and surprisingly this would gain Sneako the normal amount of success that he deserved at the time, since he was trying to be different than most of the creators at the time, as really no one was trying to get into that kind of stuff. And this would gain the respect of most people, as people were interested in what Sneako had to say. This resulted in Sneako dropping out of college to do YouTube full time, which is not really the best kind of move to do, since YouTube being nowhere near dependable and could get your career taken at any time. Very ironic. However, during this time period it was good in the short term, as his content would start to change more and more as he began making more IRL videos more, and he began collaborating with more content creators at the time, as Sneako would go on to collaborate with Keemstar to make a video about FouseyTube, considering the fact that drama during this time was extremely popular. So doing this may have resulted in Sneako blowing up, right? Well, not exactly, since once Sneako got the job with Keemstar, and Sneako sent the voice recording to Keemstar, it resulted in this.
And I know and I understand that your ego's hurt, and I understand that this is a big letdown, but don't act like a little boy and cry and have a hissy fit.
This is why I didn't want
Keemstar. Fuck Keemstar. I gave you an opportunity. I gave you an opportunity to go in front of 400,000 people and get your name out there. You uploaded a video saying I wasted your time. You uploaded a video saying I wasted your time, but then you're also admitting it was bad. Whose time is being wasted?
However, rather than moving on from this, he would go on to join the trend of making videos exposing Keemstar, as he would go on to make a Keemstar exposed video. But this video wouldn't really do that great and would get him a bunch of hate for it, and he would delete the video shortly after being published, and the two ended up going their separate ways, but would then somewhat try to repair the beef together later down the line.
Yeah, I was telling the story how I hired you to read something and you did it horribly and you tried to expose me.
Yeah, I was 16, bro. I mean, I've learned from that. That was a long time ago. But ultimately what I learned from that is I wanted to be independent and I didn't want to work for anybody. But I didn't know how to phrase it properly back then. And I'm glad that I decided to work for myself and not work for you.
But Sneako would go on to then find himself another big opportunity in his life. Jake Paul, no, I'm just fucking with you. Mr. Beast and Sneako began building up an internet friendship, as the two had constantly talked together in YouTube comment sections when their channels were moderately small, and just basically supported each other's channels.
At number 2 I have Sneako, and if you've ever seen Sneako's videos, you realize that they're kind of addicting. Once you start watching them, it's kind of hard to stop.
And then eventually Sneako would then go on and began to work with Mr. Beast. And like Sneako said, he was very surprised and shocked how Mr. Beast was creating his videos. However, despite Sneako getting recognized in Mr. Beast's videos now, and being featured in these these viral videos, Sneako didn't like these super oversaturated videos, and she thought it was just very weird. But Sneako didn't quit working for Mr. Beast because of that reason. He stopped working for Mr. Beast because Mr. Beast had fired him, and after Sneako got fired by Mr. Beast, he would go on and make a Mr. Beast exposed video. But like his Keemstar video, this video did not last long and it was deleted very shortly after the video got posted. But as of today, the two have yet to squash their beef with each other, as they still haven't talked to each other yet.
I remember feeling like the same way too. And I talked about this in a video, like I made an expose, right after I got fired, I was tight. I didn't have any subs at the time, I had like 27K, but I made like a Mr. Beast exposed video trying to like get some redemption from it. And it only got 30 views, I took it down in 10 minutes. Mr. Beast was one of the 30 views, and so like bro, we don't really talk anymore. We went from like being possible friends and stuff like that to like me doing that fucked up the relationship forever.
After Sneako's failed attempt of trying to work with other people on the internet, he began doing content creation fully on his own now. He used his platform to tell stories, modeling, and even stand-up comedy. However, he would then go in and change his content style completely that was almost completely different from everyone else at this time. Taking inspiration from Steven's Crowder Change My Mind series, he would start up his own 1-minute podcast series, where he interviewed different people about certain things.
White lives matter.
White lives?
No, not in the slightest.
Yes, they tried to censor the truth.
No.
Why not?
Black lives matter.
I really don't give a fuck about white lives.
We're gonna get really political. I don't want to go there.
All lives matter. It's just no.
All lives matter for y'all. I'm glad that brother put that out there because he started a whole bunch of conversation.
Man, you're hard to talk to.
Really, why?
Because you're making me think that all my answers are wrong.
However, things will start to sort of change in 2020. When the coronavirus hit in 2020, this had forced him to change up his content style, since his 1-minute podcast included him to talk directly next to people. However, during this time period, signs began showing that Sneako started to unleash his toxic trait out of him. For example, a creator by the name of D'Angelo Wallace would comment under one of Sneako's videos, "He's for the streets." And Sneako wouldn't just ignore this comment, as he went on to make a 30-minute long video about this 4-word comment. And undoubtedly, many people called Sneako being very pathetic for this, as he overreacted to a 4-word comment. Shortly after this incident, he began to start post more on his second channel, Sneako, since it was much harder to post IRL videos outside during the lockdown at this time. And Sneako didn't blow up right away. He would actually start to pick up more traction after Andrew Tate started blowing up. Andrew Tate along this time began blowing up after people started posting some of his podcast clips over on TikTok. And his clips consisted of him saying a bunch of things that were political and controversial stuff about women. And as Tate began blowing up, Sneako began reacting to some of Tate's clips and streams, and began taking what Tate's worldview was and what he was saying and rolling with it.
The Tates, their information on their podcast have motivated me more than anything else I've ever heard on the internet. I turned my life around since I started listening to them. I've only been streaming for 3 months, and I was maybe 2 or 3 weeks into streaming. You could see it the first time I even reacted to them. I was like, what are these guys doing wearing these shirts and talking so loud? And I peeped the confidence, I peeped the entertainment value they were adding.
And this would be around the time where the masculine interview would start to get really popular. Sneako ended up taking all of Tate's lessons and speeches all to heart, but there was some people who didn't like what Sneako was doing in acting. Many old-time Sneako fans often felt that the new persona he put on was very egotistical, and really just didn't like the way he was acting and saying. But we're really just getting started. Sneako's second channel, Sneako, began to be his main source of popularity, as his channel had gained over 100,000 subscribers in just a week. And his takes and things he began to say would start to get more offensive to people and more controversial around the world. But he ultimately didn't care what people thought of it, as he would continue to push the buttons more and more, as he advertised himself as being extremely based and saying things that people didn't want to hear. And after Andrew Tate and Church got banned off of social media, this would then give Sneako more of the light now, as more people look for Sneako to say some of the stuff that Andrew Tate was saying before he got banned. But he would start to do this in sort of a different way.
Every single girl has she, her in her bio. Every girl.
But why are you dating those girls? Wait, no. Listen.
For some of the things I'm about to say, some of it's going to be reiterated from my last Sneako video. Sneako began to start focusing his attention on women now more, as on his Sneako channel, he began to start reacting to channels that would interview different girls about certain questions. For example, some of the girls were asked, "Are you a 10?" Meaning, are you perfect with no room for improvement? And all the girls he reacted to will all call themselves 10s. And Sneako would always clown on these different girls for calling themselves 10s.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you guys rate yourselves?
10, 10, 10, every time.
A 10!
Motherfucking. Hey, be a miss. You look at me breaking the scale.
Okay.
Broke the scale.
Okay.
Chat, did she break the scale? Maybe you broke the actual scale.
And along this time period, Sneako's persona began to start getting way more aggressive towards these different girls on the internet, since now he didn't want to look like he was riding this big wave from Andrew Tate after he got banned, as Andrew Tate essentially passed the torch to him, and he pretty much had all eyes on him, and this would obviously cause a bunch of people to start to hate him for this now, literally became what he despised. This would be around the time period where people started to realize how Sneako was definitely pushing the buttons even further now, since for some of the stuff he began to start to talk about, stuff even Andrew Tate wouldn't even say. KSI would tweet out to Sneako, if you're such a top G, if you're such an alpha like your daddy Tate, why not test the alpha? Let us have a little spar and we can see how manly you are in person. You can talk all that behind the screen, but in the real world you act different, I'm sure. But as I can see, you're truly just a man with zero value. Fuck anyone over to be the main guy at the top of the ladder, demanding to be woman, demeaning to Islam, demeaning to people and their wait for your bubble. Your truth is a lie. You're a trend that's dying. Enjoy it for now. And Sneako began to start getting called up by more and more people for his controversial and offensive comments he would make. Some people said that he was just speaking the truth, but some people thought he was just being straight up ignorant.
Do you think that maybe it's just the girls you're associating with that believe this?
It's all of them. It's all of them.
How old are the...
Everybody hating on me is a bot. Everybody hating on me, you're goofy. Once you a lot of women, you understand how they work and you get better with them.
No, when you a lot of women, you understand how to women. That's the only thing you... What is the ideal version of a man to you?
A man that can do whatever he wants to do and doesn't listen to anybody and creates his own world and is the master of his own universe.
Okay, a man that can do whatever he wants to do and doesn't listen to anybody, what you just described is a 17-year-old teenager.
Yeah, and then you turn 18 and then you gave up on it and started voting for Biden.
Yeah, I turned 18, I gave up on it because I had to become an actual man. A man can't do whatever he wants to do because if you're a man, no.
Nonsense.
No.
Nonsense.
So, okay, if you're a man, do you get responsibilities? Can you walk away from a house? Can you walk away from a family? Can you walk away from your obligations? Is that what a real man does?
I'm not gonna exactly give my own personal thoughts what I think about him, because this video could stretch out to an entire hour. But Sneako's whole not caring what people thought of him would be good and bad from the long term, as this would give people an idea how they could get him deplatformed, kind of the same way Andrew Tate got deplatformed. It even got so amped up that they played one of Sneako's streams in the fucking US Senate. And after this occurred, Sneako ended up getting in an altercation with a female content creator by the name of Chad, while she was also a female TikToker, and he would go on to ridicule her and clown on her in his Sneako channel. And I'm sure without a doubt that making fun of a female TikToker will not end good for you, as many people will go to great lengths to try and cancel you.
Today I want to briefly talk about the content creator Sneako and ask YouTube to ban him from the platform. I'm going to keep this video really short because I just want to say my piece and give Sneako and his fans as little ammunition to fire back as possible, because we know that every time someone utters his name on YouTube, he feels the need to make 5 videos crying about women and society or whatever.
And even more and more people would try to get Sneako deplatformed, and they would succeed, as YouTube would go on to terminate Sneako and Sneako channel, a whole decade's worth down the drain. Now, do I think that Sneako should have gotten banned? Not entirely, but I'm sure we knew and he knew that at some point he was gonna eventually get banned, as because some of the stuff that he said, controversial stuff about women, it was almost inevitable.
Listen up now, there's 22,000 people watching. I'm next. Tristan said he's gonna pass the torch to me. I have to spread this message now that they're banned. They are going to try to ban me next. They are actively trying to. They put a strike on my channel last season for nudity when I was doing push-ups with a shirt on and pants on. I got a nudity strike and I wasn't able to stream for a week, only I got it off because I appealed it.
As even though Tate and Sneako are both banned, it's not entirely stopped the countless videos I see on YouTube and TikTok of people writing this masculinity view wave, and just general political view about the world. And some of the stuff that Sneako's preached to his audience could be good and bad, since his fan base after all is very young. The things that Andrew Tate said, Sneako took most of what he said, dissected it, and just wrote it the wrong way. And some people may just call me a geek or a bitch, it still doesn't change the fact that Sneako's points that he made on YouTube was almost inevitable to get him banned.
The misconception that most people don't understand is they don't do this to protect us from misinformation. They do this to control the narrative. I've been wronged by Google, I've been wronged by my role models, my YouTube peers, but I've always attained the idea that what is real will prosper. Time will tell, and eventually people will understand where I'm coming from.
One thing I've noticed now that Sneako's gone, or when he was on the platform, a lot of people are showing their thoughts and reminiscing on Sneako's old content the way he used to be. As before, he was way more calm and speaking his mind about stuff, but then he went to shoving his thoughts and masculinity about women into people's throats. Now he's just pandering to a vulnerable group of men who hate women and ethnic groups, the type who would have harassed Sneako in high school. Sneako wanted to step out from everyone else, but him wanting to step out to do his own thing would really be the beginning of the end for him. him. He wanted everyone to agree with him and didn't realize how crazy, hypocritical, and dumb that he started acting insane. And this ban has really marked the end for him. He always says how he wants to wake up people and how everyone is brainwashed now, but he didn't realize that he started to preach some stuff that he didn't even want people to be. Since after all, screaming at people over the internet and just basically being loud and obnoxious, it's not gonna exactly wake people up. Since like the saying is, you don't exactly need someone over the internet to tell you how the world works and different views on people. And different people want to look up to someone over the internet to guide them basically. But these people like Andrew Tate and Sneako are literally no different from us. They aren't perfect and they will make mistakes and dumb moves from time to time. And if you give someone like Sneako all this fame and power, thinking that there's some father figure to impressionable kids and men over the internet who is still already immature and childish, don't be surprised when they start saying this outlandish things and thinking that they're right all the time. At the moment, Sneako is still trying to find his fame on Rumble, uploading some of the same kind of content he used to upload on YouTube. But that's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing, drop a like if you want to, go off on my Twitter at Scorpion_1 and follow the Twitch on the Discord. And at the moment of making this video, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you guys enough for support recently. It's been amazing and crazy that we're growing this fast, and you guys liking my videos and stuff. But thanks for support recently, thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.